So about a week ago, it was announced that Facebook is now up to 750 million active users, which has tripled in 3 years. And I was like totally a late bloomer on Facebook. People like drug me kicking and screaming in 2008 before Lucy was born, because everybody's like, oh, it's a great place to put photos of Lucy and everybody can keep up to date. And I thought, that would be, if that's where everybody's at, that would be an easier solution than emailing out photos and everything else. So I'm not like one of the veteran users that was in it from the beginning or anything like that. But I will have to say that, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed like the connections with old, friends from grade school and, my childhood, and seeing what they're up to, seeing, pictures of their families. And it's been really neat. But I'm wondering if you are experiencing the Facebook issues that I'm experiencing, which has to do with the negativity and the adultitis. Okay, I have just a handful of people that tend to be really, really adultitis ridden about their statuses, and it's just totally annoying, but also I can see it being kind of addictive in the comments. So for instance, a good friend of mine put up the other day about how overwhelmed she is. And, I don't know, if it's just like a moment of just honesty kind of thing. But I noticed in her in her comments, like all these people were chiming in about, and it became this like competition of like who was most overwhelmed, who was the most busy, that sort of thing. And it reminds me of a blog post I put up a few years ago that's in a book of ours about busy being a 4-letter word, and how you just you can't go there. You can't have that competition of like, why is the winner the busiest person, but you see it around the water cooler, you see it on Facebook. And I think one of the things that's pretty dangerous is just being exposed to that type of conversation on a regular basis. And with Facebook, it's scary because you don't really realize you're being exposed to it. It's just, quick input. It's kind of like sun exposure. You don't really realize it until later on that night in the bathroom when you're like, holy cow, look how red I am. It's like, weeks later, everything kind of builds up, all the negativity, all the complaining about busyness and overwhelm, and you realize that it's totally affected you. So one of my challenges to you is to not let the contagious part of adultitis attack you unwillingly. If you want to be exposed to that and you want to chime in and add your 2 comments and try to put positive spin on everybody, then good for you. And I think you're a better person than I am, because I usually just ignore those kind of comments and keep moving. But what you can do is you can basically hide their statuses so you don't have to be exposed to it. Don't defriend them. There's tons of social media politics involved with that, and I've seen it played out. It's bad. So do not defriend them. Just hide their statuses. They'll never know it. Just because someone's going through a negative period doesn't mean you're not friends with them, but it also doesn't mean that you necessarily have to be exposed to all of that negativity all of the time. And just, be a positive person on Facebook would be a good tip also, is to counteract some of the stuff that maybe other people are reading in their statuses. And just know it's all in your control. At the end of the day, you can close your computer, you can turn off your handheld device and not expose yourself at all if that's what you need to do too. So I'm going to take my own advice here this week and try to not let the negativity bum me out, but more of just like say, you are who your friends are, and I'm just going to expose myself to as much of that as I can handle, and that means like none, and just kind of go from there. So hope you're having a good week.